everybody, we are back. Yours truly with our friends, our colleagues. We are here excited. Excited, why? Because this is the season of joy. Happy holidays to everybody out there that's watching us. Today we're going to be talking about something great, a great topic. You know, what do you give to your spouse? You know, what kind of love language do you give? You know, so we're gonna be discussing those things.
Thank you, baby. So yes, as my husband said, we are talking about how do you give to your spouse's love language. We all love and we give love differently. We receive love differently. And so we want to talk about that during this season of giving and during the season of love. So before we get into that, I do want to just shout out those love languages, and the love languages are words of affirmation, physical touch, quality time, receiving gifts, and acts of service. Those are the love languages. And so you may say, well, I don't know what my love language is, you know, I don't know what my spouse's love language is, and how do I find that out? So all of us, we read a book, or we were in a marriage class where we touched on this with an author by the name of Gary Chapman. And there's actually a free online quiz that you can take to find out what is your love language and what is your spouse's love language. And so we'll put that in the description so that you guys can access that if you need to. So that's, you know, just about love languages. And so we wanted to talk about how do we give to our spouse's love language. And so we're going to turn it over to the Johnsons, and they're going to share how they give to each other's love language.
Okay.
Nice.
Thanks, sis. Appreciate it.
All right.
So love language and how do we give it to each other? So I'll say for my husband, his love language, and now that you're reading them off, it's more than one, but I would say his top one is words of affirmation. So my husband needs to hear those words that I affirm him. And at first I did not understand that early on in marriage. It was just like, you know, hey babe, like I'm going out today suited and booted, and I'm like, okay, have a nice day. And he's like, I'm suited and booted, and I'm like, okay, you look nice. And I didn't understand that he needs to hear that from his wife. It doesn't make him less than a man. It doesn't make him insecure about himself, but it's just he wants to hear that that's his love language, telling me, baby, you look nice, baby, you did a great job today. So as I became more in tune with that, now I can be more direct and more effective with giving him that love. So I try to make it a point to say, you know, hey, before he leave out that house, ooh, you looking sharp today. Oh, I see you, you're fresh. And it's so funny because like just last week, I was like tired. You know, you're getting up in the morning, you're getting the kids ready and everything. So he's getting up, I'm getting his coffee and everything. And I was like, all right, baby, have a nice day. You look nice. And so he came home like a couple days later, and that day, and he was just like, now you can see me. And I was like, you look nice. I told you that this morning. He's like, no, that was an auto response. You wasn't even aware. That he's like, hey, I was able to still use it in the day, but I know you wasn't really there. So here I am. And I was like, oh, look at you. Oh, you sharp. Come on, turn around for me. And he did look awesome, but I was just like, let me get it together. So that's his. And then also, I would say physical touch. My honey, I love it that, you know, whether it's always been like that, whether it's holding hands or he'll come up and squeeze me from behind. And to me, I wouldn't say I don't like physical touch, but I'm just like, okay, not right now. And so, but then there's other times I'll come snuggle up under him, but he's very affectionate with the physical touch. So now knowing that, I have to work a little bit more on like, hey baby, how you, like give him extra hugs and not just play around. So that's his.
That's what's up.
Am I on it? Is that yours?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. More words of affirmation, but also physical touch.
Yeah.
But the words of affirmation, just want to highlight why that's important to me. You know, as a leader in the professional world and, you know, the head of the household, I bear a lot of stress. So I actively, you know, search for encouragement from my wife, you know, from my father. I don't need it from everybody else. As long as those individuals, my wife, you know, my father, they're kind of keeping me uplifted, motivating me, encouraging me, either inspiring me through whatever it may be. I can go about my day, with my head on straight.
Yeah.
So that's what helps me out.
That's cool. Yeah.
But LaShayna, words of affirmation, not words of affirmation, but love language is quality time.
Listen.
And it's funny that her love language is quality time, because anybody who knows my wife can't sit down.
Oh, wow.
She's the busiest, human.
What are we talking about?
I mean,
love languages?
But I'm gonna get to that. As busy as she is, she's always on the go. She wants her quality time from her husband. And that can come in different fashions. Sometimes it comes from, I get home from work, she's wrapping things up with the children, and there's some things that need to be cleaned up. Sometimes the quality time is jumping in the fire with her, wrapping up the kitchen, we teaming up with mopping and with sweeping and mopping. I know that's a form of quality time that she appreciates. Me to sit down and actually say, hey, let's watch this together. She loves to kind of pick things out for us to watch, but when I do it, it's a turn on for her. Just let me put this phone down. My husband will say, I gotta take advantage of this. She enjoys the one-on-one time that we get, without our children. When we get to go on dates, having a second child, we went through a stretch where everything had to be done with the children. But we've now gotten back into a different season to where, our youngest is a little bit older. We have multiple people we trust that can watch him. So we can try to get, at least once a month in where we'll have date night. Where we go out, we actively, put our phones down on the table, face down, and don't touch it. Where we focus on engaging with each other, continue to dream with each other. Even at night, where we're exploring each other's visions, our dreams. That quality time is important. Where we kick the little one out, you go to sleep, and we focus on just whatever it is. Our visions, our dreams are. We share with one another. We get so excited hearing that. So the quality time is what's important for Shayna.
Right.
How about the verdejos?
The verdejos. So my husband, his love language is physical touch.
Yep.
I see that being a common thing for the men here, but it makes perfect sense. But physical touch, and how do I give to his love language? I will say when he leaves a home in the morning, he gives a kiss. We give each other a kiss. It's like our send-off kiss. And then when he returns home, as soon as he comes in the house, I am greeted with a kiss.
Gotta have it.
Yes. So it's like, okay, I'm touching back. I'm coming back. We're touching back with each other with that kiss. So we kiss each other a lot, every day, all day. Another way that I give to his love language is when we're in the car riding, usually that's when we find our deep conversations. That's when we get into really deep conversations. And I know that sometimes if there's a challenging situation for him or something that's heavy on his heart, as he begins to open up and talk about it, I will just reach over and grab that hand and embrace and just hold on to let him know that I got your back. This is a symbol to show you that I'm here with you throughout, whatever you're discussing right now. Like, I'm that backbone, and I'm that support for you. And that's how I give to his love language.
And she was right on. That is very true. My wife's love language, she actually has two, but I'm going to admit that I help build up one of those, which is receiving gifts.
Spoil her.
So
me
her true love language is words of affirmation. But receiving gifts, I'm guilty of building that baby up.
You spoiled them.
And from the moment we met each other, ever since I started getting a little bit of some money in my pocket, I started just spoiling my baby. I love doing that. I grew up with 7 nieces, so 6 nieces. So I just love always treating women, to a high standard.
Yeah.
So that's why I just feel I knew it. Once she received the quite a few gifts that I gave her in the beginning, you can see in her eyes. I was like, okay, I gotta keep doing this.
Yeah, you started something.
I can't stop now.
Yeah.
But for words of affirmation, what I do to give that to my wife is every now and then, well, not every now and then, often, I usually just send her text, or sometimes I leave a quick note before I leave to work. Just leave it somewhere that I know she's going to go to that place at some point throughout the day.
That's
so
good.
when she finds it, she's like, man, he really thought about this the night before. You know, a lot of times she likes to hear, my hair looks good, or you got, you know, your makeup is beautiful, or maybe I love those jeans or that clothes that you're wearing. So I think that's something that she loves to hear.
Yep.
Words of affirmation.
Yeah, yep.
That's really good. I mean, these are our love language, and we're always, I feel like, always improving on them. So we shared ours with you all, and now we have a nice surprise for the holidays since it's the season of giving, and we have a couple of friends who are sharing how they're giving their love language to their spouse. So go ahead and check that out, all right?
I'm Andre Sessler, and this is my wife of 10 years, Crystal. And Crystal's love language is acts of service, which basically means me taking things from her plate that she'd otherwise have to do herself, sort of lightening her load. And one of the ways I do that, I try to do that, is on occasions, rare occasions, when I'm up before her in the mornings, I'll make the girls breakfast. We have 2 daughters, and I'll make them breakfast because, well, that will relieve her of one less task that she'd have to do in the morning before starting her day in homeschooling our kids. Likewise, at dinner time, if I am done working in the office and the girls haven't had dinner yet, and my wife is tied up doing other things, I will make dinner for her without her asking. So when she comes out and sees that, of course, it speaks to her heart. That act of service. And one final thing, she has a tendency of allowing her phone to go dead. And so if I find her phone at 7% or even 5%, believe it or not, or lower, I'll plug it in for her to make sure that her phone is charged, so she wakes up in the morning with a fully charged phone instead of a phone that's completely dead and turned off. And I think things like that go a long way, even those small things in speaking her love language.
They do. And Andre's love languages are words of affirmation and physical touch. So I try to speak his love language in different ways. When he's in the kitchen, maybe washing the dishes or scrambling some eggs, I'll come up behind him and give him a hug, or I'll just, rub on his back just to let him know that I see you, I love you. And then when we're, kind of just sitting like this on the couch, whether we're talking or watching a show, I'll put my legs across him, or I'll lay my head down on him just so that he feels me close to him. And that's not something that I would naturally do for myself. Like, I kind of like my space, but I know that he likes it, and that it's one way I can show him that I love him. Another way that I do is twofold. When we're driving in the car, I get those ashy hands and I'll rub some lotion on him, and so he's getting a little hand massage, and he feels me, and he knows that, like, look, I acknowledge you, I'm present with you. And then for words of affirmation, he has a job that can be stressful at times, and I'll just send him a message saying that, the girls and I love you, we support you, we know that you're going to do a great job, we trust you. And then just specific praise. So if he does something and he's speaking my love language, I'll specifically point that out, letting him know that I see you, I know that you're showing your love to me, and I appreciate it. So those are just some of the ways that we speak each other's love language.
Hello, my name is Reggie Wallace, and this is my wife, Melissa. We've been married we'll be celebrating 12 years of marriage this coming February. And so I think the topic for tonight's podcast is love languages and how we, as spouses, appease the love languages of our spouse. So I'll let my wife start.
My husband's love language is definitely physical touch and words of affirmation, and those are neither of my love languages. So I have to be very conscious-minded when it comes to fulfilling his needs and what it takes to make him feel fulfilled. So even when I may not be thinking about it, I have to consciously remind myself when I'm walking by, to touch, or to affirm him, to tell him that he's doing a great job, to tell him that I appreciate him, or our family appreciates everything he does for us. It takes a conscious effort on my part. And I think as the years are going by, and as we've gone through different things in our marriage, and with help of therapy, I'm coming to a point where it's becoming more natural for me to be able to fulfill my husband's love language and fulfill his needs as it pertains to his love languages. I know my particular languages are acts of services.
I'm supposed to guess those, or not guess those, but know those, right? I should share those.
All right, so go ahead.
So Melissa's love languages are acts of service and quality time. Even during our dating, like that was just a big deal to just spend time together. It didn't have to be anything like major. We could just be watching her favorite TV show or just laying in the bed watching a movie. So that's still something that I really try to do, and I had to slow down because I used to be on the go, always want to be out the house, always want to be going somewhere. But as we've been dating and now married and going to this 12th year and in this season, I have learned to slow down and really just spend that time and just sit in the bed, even if she may be asleep, but we're watching a TV show or a program or a movie, or just spending time and going out to dinner, movies, different things like that, right? So, even going to get our nails done together and stuff. So I know that's a big one for her. And then the other one is acts of service. And so I do my best to like help with the dishes and help with the boys in the mornings. And even us moving back to Orlando, I saw that as an act of service because I knew this is where she really wanted to be. So that's how I make an effort to meet her two love languages.
Hey guys, I'm Chris. This is my wife Sophia. We've been married a little bit over 5 years now. So do you want to start?
Yeah. So Chris's love languages are physical touch and words of affirmation, and I feel like I give those to him by with words of affirmation, just by encouragement. Just offering him some encouragement. I'll send him random text messages saying how much I love him and how much I appreciate him, and even I'll send him some throwback pictures of us in our younger days. Like, is this my husband? Like, who is this man? Like, oh my goodness, he is so fine. And I'll even, if I ask him, like, hey, Superman, can you do this? Or Superman. So I'll call him my Superman, because he is. Or even when he's done something, or it's just, I'm just overjoyed. It's Hercules. That's our thing. That I'll do for words of affirmation, to give him that love language. And for physical touch, I would say just in day-to-day, how I give that to him is by just a kiss, even just rubbing on his back, leaning on him, or just grabbing his arm whenever he's doing something. And that's how I think I give that to you for your physical touch love language.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. And Sophia's love language is
Service.
Yes. Acts of service. So I feel like I give that to her by helping out around the house. Various chores, grocery shopping. If I'm out working at the church, even though I might have been out all morning and tired, I'll still go take care of the groceries, so she doesn't have to go out. I think the biggest thing is taking care of our son during the workday, because her job is a little bit more stressful than mine, and she has set work hours where I don't. So I'll take care of him during the day, and try to give her time to focus on work. So then I'll push my work off till later that night while he's asleep, or later in the day. And also just maybe cooking on the grill so that we can have something to eat, and picking up food, things like that, just to help out and just make sure she's good and taken care of.
You do that. Okay.
So how do I give my wife her love language? Her love language is time. So how do I give that to her? I give that to her by hanging out, watching movies, watching TV shows, listening to her talk, and occasionally going out with her when she's shopping and just follow her along. I don't say anything, I just listen to her talk. Talk through her experience of shopping, and that's how I give her her love language, which is quality time.
Okay. So my spouse's love language is physical touch. So how do I communicate that to him? I communicate it to him by holding his hands, giving him lots of hugs and kisses. That's just who he is and what he likes. So I relay that to him that way.
That's what I like, girl.
Love you, babe.
Love you.
Greetings from Charleston, South Carolina. We are the Jenkins. My name is Adonis Jenkins. This is my wife, Sharnice Jenkins. It's a pleasure being here with you guys this evening. One thing that we can say is 2020 has been a very trying year, and I feel as if nothing else, it definitely taught us how to become creative, be vocal. There were a lot of stressors, not necessarily internally, but externally. A lot of things that that could have caused for any relationship to be tried and to possibly break. But knowing your partner's love language definitely plays a major part in that. So we're going to talk today about our love language. Her and I both retook our test. We've done it before, but we retook it for the podcast. My updated love language after the test, it was determined to be physical touch. For my wife, it was words of affirmation. So we're going to talk about that today. I'll let her go first.
So 2020, it's been a really weird year. We've all been in the house together since March with our 2 kids. So with his being physical touch, sometimes it may just be resting my hand on his shoulder, holding hands while we're watching a movie. Something to just reaffirm, I'm here, I'm present, I see you, I appreciate you, you're loved. Sometimes we just need those reminders.
And that is true. So it definitely helps me. I know for her, it's words of affirmation. So what I may do is with the creative part is just writing it on a Post-it note. I'll write it on a Post-it note. So when she gets up in the morning, she'll see it presented. It'll be presented to her like on her mirror in the bathroom. I may put it on the nightstand, or I may put it on her computer. So when she opens it, she sees it. And they're just simple words, you're strong, you're beautiful, we appreciate you. One of the slogans from one of the themes from our wedding was "We are one." So hashtag we are one, right? So I'll write that every once in a while. We are one. So whatever you're going through, I'm going through with you. So it's just simple things like that. So again, 2020 has definitely challenged us and caused for us to go outside of ourselves and get creative. So I thank you guys again for allowing for us to partake in the podcast today. From my family to yours, happy holidays, happy new year. Please be safe, and I pray for a better 2021 for everyone. Thank you.
All right, guys. So now that you heard everybody's love language, you probably had a chance to discuss that with your spouse. I just want you to remember, love your spouse. Make sure that you continue to love your spouse. Study your spouse. You have to know who they are, what they like, what they don't like, what makes them comfortable, what doesn't make them comfortable. Study your spouse. And then most importantly, speak their language. Speak their love language. Remember that, guys.
Yeah. Thank you, baby. And so I just want to read a scripture. We want to leave you all with a scripture, and that is 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 8. And the scripture reads, "For love covers a multitude of sins." And I'll just say that, as you go through your relationships or your marriages, there may be those times where you're confused, or you're not sure, like, okay, why is my spouse acting this way, or why are we going through whatever we may be going through. Just know that love conquers all, and that, during those difficult times, don't let the enemy come in and cause confusion and destruction. Just try to tune back into that love, tap back into that love, and just let it beam through your relationship or your marriage. But that's what we just want to leave you guys with, as far as, you know, just this episode of the season of giving, the season of love, and just knowing that love covers a multitude of sins.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Zeus. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in with us. Hope you loved the show today. Make sure you continue to check us out on our different platforms. Please check the description and our different outlets that we have. Finish strong this year. Happy holidays,
Happy
everyone.
holidays.